Welcome to Python for Intermediates. This is Tech Hustler on YouTube. In today's video, we are going to talk about comprehension and functional styles. So, over some other time, we move for some little bits and pieces of comprehension. So, we used to write a long code in a short form. So, fair and say, be a loop it through a specific list, and I say be a specific set, and I say dictionary. Now it may use a shorter way to do that. So in today's video, we'll be talking about how you can write a long code or a longer code in a shorter way. So talking about comprehension and functional style, in today's video, you know style about draw a clean and readable list, dictionary, and set comprehension. Until you wait to draw a clean and readable list and set comprehension. And you know how to use nested comprehension. And then you learn how to use map, filter, and reduce correctly. So these are the functional styles. Some of the functional styles map, filter, and reduce. And after this course, you'll be able to decide when comprehension are better than loops. Okay, so you know that, okay, so in this case, am I supposed to use comprehension? Or in this case, am I supposed to use loops? Or in this case, am I supposed to use functionals or functions? Okay, so let's move on. First thing that we are going to talk about is the list comprehension. The list comprehension. So sometimes you'll be asking yourself, why should you write 5 lines when one line says the same thing? So you write 5 lines, meanwhile you can write it in a single line for it to do the same thing. Okay, so we have a list like this. Let's create an empty list. Okay, so I'll say squares is equal to this empty list. So if I want to append something in this list, I can write it in a form of loops. Okay, so I'll just write it in a form of loops. So I'll say for x in range 5. So I want to add numbers from 0 to 4 into this list. So I'll just say squares dot append, and I'll just append x now into the squares. So I'll append this x into the squares. So if I print this, I'll say print squares. Okay, now Samarania, you see say now I have a list here. Okay, I've been able to create a list using this loop. First, I created an empty list, and I may append it using the for loop. Okay, within this range, I'm print here. What if I tell you, say you can write this in a simple form? So by using a comprehension style. So by using a comprehension style, we only need this squares. So I'll say for x in range 5. Okay, I'll come back and say x. Okay, so it says for x in range 5, just put x in this list. For x in range 5, put that x in this list where I equity. And let me run it for us to see. Okay, so let me print it before I run it. So I'll say squares. Okay, now I'm running the view. Okay, so as you can see, you say many the same result or has if a first one I'm using, and I'll be getting like 3 to 4 lines of codes. But with just a single line of code, let me create this list using the comprehension style. So with the comprehension style, a bois, I'm out draw a longer line of code in a fewer line of codes. Okay. And comprehension style, no, it is more concise, okay, and more concise, more expressive, and slightly faster. It is slightly faster. So it is more concise, more expressive, and then often slightly what? Faster. Now, let's move on. So let's say I want to create a list that has even number from 1 to 10. So I want even numbers from 1 to 10. Or let me say I want even numbers from 1 to 9 because I don't want to add 10. Now, it will be simple for us to do that. Let me clear this. Okay, let me leave it. And I'll say even. Let me change this to even. Okay, so I'll clear this. Okay, so I'll say for or I, or let me say for num in range 10. Okay, so here within this comprehension, I can still bring an if statement. Okay, so let me bring an if statement in this comprehension. So I'll say if num modulo 2 is equal to 0, then it means I'm supposed to print num in this comprehension. Okay, so the code is simple. So it says print or insert num into this list for every num in range 10 BR or from numbers from 0 to 9 if the number is an even number, if the number modulo 2 is equal to 0. And I believe you all know modulo. That is finding the remainder by dividing a specific number with a different number. So here you're dividing it by 2. Number is 0, meaning say an even number. So after that, you print this list. Let's run it. So you see that we're having even numbers. Okay, so here 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so that is how we can also write a comprehension style in a list. So some mistakes that we do, sometimes we overstaff logic. Sometimes we also sacrifice readability. Okay. Now, in a mini exercise, I want us to create a list of squared odd numbers from 1 to 20. A list of squared odd numbers from 1 to 20. Okay. Please, you can pause this video with my person before be about 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Then you solve it. After solving it, no be say be answer na maybe man no correct. Okay. So in this mini exercise, now let me comment these out. Okay, so mini exercise. Okay. I'll say the question says you have to what? Create a list of squared odd numbers from 1 to 20. So I'll just say squared odd, and as odds. So I'll just say for a number in range, you said 1 to 20, right? Okay, 1 to 20. So if it's 1 to 20, then you can say range 1 to, let's say, range 21. Okay, and then we will say if num modulo 2 is not equal to 0, we should insert num into this list. You see how I've created this? It's almost the same, or it's similar to this, though we have a not sign here. So the reason why you use not is because say you dividing number no by 2. Let's say remember no arm is 0, meaning say a odd number. Okay. So that's how you can do it. So let me print this squared odds, right? Squared odds. Oh, sorry. Squared odds. Okay, so let me run it for us to move on. So as you can see, we have odd numbers from 1 to 20. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. So utimi eye we pepe pa chale why are there? So when to me so me so say obe ko achi e wo video mu na wasa hwe ne bio. De me yen first, second, third one yama is here. Now wetimi atiase easy. We are moving on to a dictionary comprehension. So the first one that we did was a list comprehension. So now we are moving on to a dictionary comprehension. So I'll clear all this. Okay, so let me clear from here to here. To make clear, make us a dictionary comprehension. Okay, a dictionary comprehension. And we all know how to write a dictionary. So we can say dict or dictionary. Ibia you say so a key and then when you never the value day. So you know kai say a dictionary say an day. You know. Okay, so we can use a comprehension to create a dictionary. So how do we do this in a dictionary? And see, I can see you create dictionary comprehension. Then also here. Okay, so we want to create the square for specific numbers. So we want to create the squares of 0 to 4. Okay, then we will be creating a dictionary for that. So I'll say squares is equal to a dictionary. Okay, so I'll say for num in range 5. So we say we want to create squares for these numbers. Okay, so for us to create squares for these numbers, I'll just come here. So if it was to be a list and some numbers na hono mede beba, maybe I'm ready a friend is saying Kezai Abbey, a Holland community. So I'll say num, okay, will be equal to num times 2. Okay, so it means num raised to the power what? 2. So for every num in this range beyond here, they multiply it by 2. So let's print this. Okay, so squares now supposed to make it like this. Okay, so squares, let me run it. So as you can see, we have square 0 to be 0, square 1 to be square 1, square 2 to be square 4, square 3 to be 9, square 4 to be what? 16. So, yetimi iron in a simpler way. Okay, let's move on to another one. So, put it in mind that dictionary, it loves transformations. So, the best I be on say, maybe a specific dictionary be better one. You see a transforming dictionary, to select only the past scores on Kwan. Okay, so now we have maths to be 50, English to be 80. And then you say past score near 60 or more. Okay, so 60, that's 60 plus, and then the past score. So how do we figure out, or how do we bring out the past score in this? Using a dictionary comprehension. So using a dictionary comprehension will be the easiest way to do it. We can just create another dictionary. We will call it past. Okay. So, and I will create another dictionary here. That is an empty dictionary. And then we say for key and value in scores, okay, dot items. So we want to print the past score, okay? And see the say if value v is greater than or equal to 60, okay, then we will come back and create a dictionary. And then with the dictionary, we want to make it an uppercase. So that is the key of the dictionary. And I said the subject name, no, you say no uppercase. So we will say key dot upper. Okay. Now we are on near the value, no, okay. So for key v in, I'm supposed to make it this in. Okay. So now let me explain it before I run it. We say for key value in score, and we know say whenever you be loop it through a dictionary no, we have the key and the value, so we have to bring it. And then the scores dot items, we want to collect the items, so we have to call the items method. So if the value is greater than or equal to 60, okay, so how do you check say pass score no is 60. So if it is greater than or 60, meaning say nipa na dey pass, and it's greater than or 60, and then on create a dictionary. And then with the dictionary, on make it this the key, that is the key, subject name, this subject name, on make uppercase. Now on assigning a specific value, or a pass, emma. So let's print past and pass it. Okay. Okay, so you're running where English and our pass score, that is the 80. And then you see say about caps or about uppercase. So what you say? Okay. So I have another mini exercise here. With this same dictionary name there at one. Okay. We are going to convert the student names to uppercase and then add 5 bonus points to each of the scores na ɛhɔ. Okay. So the fa ebia maths the 5 back on near English near the 5 on so there. Okay. So how are we going to do it? Please, you can pause it now and also work on it. So we are now waba now we start me. Okay. So let me clear this. Let me see new scores or new score. So for key value in scores dot items, if v is greater than or 60. So let's clear this if statement. Okay. Now we want to just add 5 points to each of them. So we just say plus 5 here. Okay. It is simple. That is for key value in scores dot items. We will make the key uppercase and then the value will add 5 to each of them. So when I print new scores, I'm supposed to have each of these scores a the 5 I can't a. So let me run this. So as you can see, on say the 5 I can't be 55 and 85 and be so by caps. So that is very simple. Let's move on to another thing. So we are moving on to set comprehensions. Set comprehensions. So with the set comprehensions, we know say a set contains unique values, right? Okay. So let me clear this. So I'm going to clear everything here. Okay, so I'll say, let me clear to this part only. I'll say set comprehension. Okay, but first of all, I'll create a list. So a list of numbers from 1 to 4, or how should I even do it? Yes, from 1 to 4, 2, 3, and then 4. But I'm supposed to have another 2 here. That is, we have duplicates of 2. Okay. So we can remove duplicate entries from these numbers, okay, by using a set. So we can use set comprehension to do that. Okay, so let me say unique values is equal to a set. Okay, so I'll say for num in numbers, okay, we want to create an empty set with the num okay, because it's already in a set. So let me see num. Okay, into area it will loop through these numbers now. Then we'll pick them one by one and setting into this set. It is a duplicate entry, a big ignore barcode then. There the unique values on one ID actual. Let me print this unique values. Okay, now I'm running code now. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so once am I unique values by using the set comprehension. I have a mini exercise. So with this mini exercise, we are going to create a list of vowels. And in the list of vowels, we would want to display only the unique vowels or the listing. Okay, so I think these are the vowels. I don't know if say become one, but already become one. Okay, they become and I said them it's me any. So I'll put this into a single quotation mark. I'll put this into a single quotation mark, and same for this. Okay. I've taken my time to do this. This is how knows what take your time, sir. Okay. So we want to remove duplicate vowels from this. So I'll make E duplicate one. So I'll duplicate E and I'll duplicate O. Let me add another O. Okay. So how are we going to remove duplicates from these vowels? By using a set comprehension. By using a set comprehension, how are you going to do it? Okay, so let's say new vowels and our unique vowels. Let me say unique vowels. Okay, and a set. We'll say for vowels in vowels, or for vowel in vowels, let's create a vowel here. As simple as that. And then we want to convert the vowel into uppercase. Okay, let's run this. Let me print the unique vowels. Unique vowels. Now, if I run this, I'm supposed to have unique vowels here, U-O-I-E-A. That is the unique vowels for us. I believe this is very simple and understandable. And that's also simple for us to understand. So we have nested comprehension. Okay, we have nested comprehension. So let me copy this code and then paste it here because time is not on our side. So this is a list. Okay, we are going back to nested comprehension. We have list comprehension, set comprehension, dictionary comprehension. But in this case, it's actually for the set comprehension, but with this, it's a nested comprehension. Okay, so we talk about nested comprehension now. You see, we're a list, but it has different lists within it. Okay, so how do we write a comprehension to display this? But with the normal loop, so you display this in a flattened way. We would say let me create an empty list here. I'll say flattened is equal to an empty list. So I'll say for let's say num in, or okay, for num in matrix, and I believe we want to matrix. Okay, we would want to display each of them in a flattened way. So I'll say for let me say another, how do I even call this? Okay, so let me say for n in num. Okay, insert the ibinyano into this flattened now. That is the n. Okay, so let me print this flattened. Okay, so I'll say flattened. Okay, so when I print this, I'm supposed to have all these in this dictionary, in this list. Okay, so let me run it. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in a single list. Okay, so we've been able to flatten it by using this long for loop. But in a list comprehension, it's mine in a simpler way. Okay, so we will not clear this. We will just say for. So if let's treat these as single values. Okay, let's treat them same fancy be a list, and I'm saying list. So let's treat them as values, just single values, no more this listing. So I'll say for num in matrix. Okay, so for num in matrix, I hope you believe me. Okay, so for num in matrix, we can write another for loop to read from this matrix. Okay, so we will say for, it will be like, say we'll throw another if statement until we say for n, or for new num in matrix, or in nums. Yes, in num. Okay, we would want to insert the num in this list. So for new num, so we would want to insert the new num, not the num. Okay, so for num in matrix, this matrix, we would want to read into this num, and then with this new num, you'll be inserting it into this list. Very simple. Okay, so now we have flattened. Okay, see around here. And you 1, 2, 3, 4, the same result in the okay. So what I can see in this, you can avoid certain nested comprehensions. Say more than 2 loops are. If it's more than 2 loops are, better say we use loops and kasa there. Because I don't know, it be readable than say we use 2 loops, more than 2 loops in a comprehension. And then some more complex conditions are, it is better say we use normal loops there. And then if it is business logic, okay, you have to use a normal loops now there. The extent say looking like a puzzle, write it in a loop form. Say complicated at the perception. You have to write it in a loop form. So that is how it is. I believe you've learned something in this video. We can't continue with the functional styles. Okay, we'll do it in the next video, and I believe you learned something today. Thank you for watching this video. Please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I will urge you to hit on the subscribe button. Now I hit it on the notification button. Send me next time we post Biana, Ubenya notifications. Thank you. Bye bye.